So some of you asked me to review my new e-bike, and so I thought I'd make a little video and give you my impressions. I've had it, I guess, about a week now, and I've put 22 miles on it. Part of that time I was out of town camping, or else I would have put more. But I really like it. I like it a lot. I hadn't been on a bike in I don't know how many years. I had been on motorcycles more recently, but I don't really want to ride motorcycles anymore. So I thought this was a good way to get some exercise and kind of get that experience. And I'll give you details about my experience here in just a second, but I just wanted to tell you that I guess, if you were to look at 10 stars, I'd give this probably a 9 out of 10 stars so far with my experience and satisfaction. But before I give you a breakdown on that, let me explain a little bit about what an e-bike is, because I know probably many of you haven't ever heard of them. I hadn't until a few months ago. It's a bicycle. It has pedals, pedals like a bicycle, and it has a gear shifter. It has 7 gears on it. So all that's like a bicycle. Frame and saddle, tires, everything is just about like a regular bike, except it has a motor, an electric motor in that hub. And this particular one has a 750 watt motor, and that's not peak watts. That's sustained. And of course it has a battery. There's a 52 volt lithium battery, and it's a 15 amp hour. And there's I think they call it a controller. It's basically a little computer that connects your control panel up top to that. And so you can pedal manually, which I don't really recommend. The bike is so heavy, it's 76 pounds. But you typically pedal with pedal assist, they call it. And let me come over here. I'm going to turn on the control screen is here, and the little control arm. You press this button on the top, and that activates the screen. Let me see if this is hard to do with the reflection, but so your basic screen, shows your miles per hour, and when you're pedaling and going, the watts you're using. I haven't reset the trip meter, so that's my total miles. And then you see PAS, which is pedal assist, and you can actually go down on this. There's 7 levels, but you can go to 0, which is manual. The motor doesn't come on at all. And over here, there's a minus and a plus, so you can move if I hit plus, I move up to pedal assist level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Much of this is adjustable. This is the way it comes. You can change from 0 to 3, 1 to 3, 0 to 9, 1 to 9, and other. But I like this 7 levels of pedal assist. What does that mean? The percent that the motor helps out when you're on pedal assist level 0, the motor helps out none. There's no motor assistance. And you can configure it, but I think I've got it set now to somewhere around 30%, 20 or 30% on level 1, and then it goes up 10% roughly in each level till you get to level 7. It's 100% motor assist. So when you manually turn the pedals, the motor kicks in after a second or so and helps you move along. There is also a throttle, and I'm not going to make the mistake of turning this again, but it's a half throttle, just like a motorcycle. And you turn that, and you can go fully on throttle power, and that'll take you to your maximum speed. And that's in just overall perspective on how it works. A lot of it is just like you'd see on a 10-speed or 18-speed or 21-speed bike. Works very similar in concept. Let me show you a few of the features that come with this particular brand. Magicycle or Magicycle, I think Magicycle is how you say it. It's a Chinese company. They've been in business about 11 years making e-bikes. They probably 10 years before that they made motorcycles, but they've shifted their production to the e-bike. And it's an interesting story that the founder, the reason he got interested in e-bikes was he and his dad used to ride bikes together a lot. And as his dad got older, he had arthritis and joint problems, and he couldn't ride anymore with him. And so he was an engineer, and he had worked in the motorcycle industry. And so he set his mind to making a bike that his dad could enjoy and could ride with him. And so, that's how the company got started. They've been in the U.S. market about a year, I think now. They're one of the newer additions here, but they're I think fairly well respected. I've watched quite a few quite a few YouTube channels with folks reviewing them, and this always comes out, you know, pretty near the top. There's 5 or 6 companies in, you know, in this price range. This type bike runs $1,500 to $2,000, $2,200, something like that. There are some less expensive ones out there, but they don't tend to be rated nearly as well. And then there's some high-end ones that go $4,000, $10,000, $20,000, and of course, that wasn't on the radar. So anyway, with this brand, I mentioned the battery, and you can get between 30 and 55 miles. Depends on your weight, and you know, I'm 210, and so I'm not going to get the upper end of that range. The payload is, you can have 350 pounds passenger and gear on here. But again, you know, the more weight you put on it, the less you pedal. If you're running throttle completely, you're going to have much less range on it. The lower pedal assist, you know, if you're using more of your own power, obviously you're going to get more distance. And I haven't tried it for distance. I normally go 4 or 5 miles when I take it out, but I do plan on making trips 10, 15 miles or so, you know, down the road. So I've already shown you a bit about what comes with this bike. You know, obviously it's got a really sturdy kickstand. It comes with this little rack on the back. I think it'll hold roughly 50 pounds. It's very sturdy, and they've got this, you know, bungee cord on it. I've carried a bit of stuff back there. It's really nice. They have a headlight that's come standard with it, but it's not that bright. I don't think I would want to rely on that solely at night. I'm going to get another headlight. They have a tail light, and the tail light, actually, you put on your headlight, it works like a tail light on a car, and a brake light. You put on your brakes, it lights up. I added this little LED light, and when I ride, I cut it on. I have it flash just to, you know, draw attention to me out there. It's got a reasonably comfortable saddle, but me not having ridden a bike in so many years, I've ridden motorcycles a lot more recently, and I'm still getting used to that, so I might upgrade that to a little better seat. I added the rear view mirror since I'm on the roads a bit. It comes with this little carrier right here. You can put your cell phone in the top. I've got a garage door opener. It unzips, and little storage. I've got a toolkit in there. The suspension, it actually has a suspension on the front. You can lock it if you don't want the suspension to work. It'll just be stiff, or you can unlock it. I like that suspension. It gives a little better ride. Reflectors in numerous places. You see that one. There's on each wheel has a reflector. I added another one of these. It came in the set, but another one of these for the front. And what I'll probably do, I'm probably going to add another handlebar extension to come across here, and I'll get another headlight that flashes, and I'll use it instead here. Or if I want to drive at night, I'll use that other headlight and put that. And I'll probably get a cell phone holder to go there too. I added a water bottle holder. That didn't come with it. I bought a decent. This was rated really high on Virginia Tech rates helmets, and so for the money, this was not an expensive one as they go. I think it was $70 or $80, but you know, the nice helmets run $200-300. But this was rated number 5 in Virginia Tech's study out of several hundred helmets. And I also bought a pair of gloves, and I don't really feel like I need them to ride the bike, but if you take a spill, your hands are going to be what reaches out for the pavement. And so that, I've read that can really help you from skinning up your hands. I mentioned already, but it's got a Shimano shifter. There's seven gears. I don't really, you know, if you're riding manually, that's real important, you know, because when you're on a hill, you want to gear down so it's easier. And, you know, when you're on downhill or level, you won't want to go medium to higher gears. But I leave it in the middle. And because of the torque for the motor, I just don't use it. It's got manual brakes. It comes on this model. They're Tektro. It's a good brand, and some folks online have complained about them, but they work well. A lot of folks have upgraded to hydraulic brakes, and I may do that, but it's about a $200 upgrade, so I'm still evaluating. It's not that hard to do that yourself, so I may put those on there. I may not. I'll just have to see. I mentioned the saddle. I might, although at this point I don't feel like I need it. You can replace this. It's got a quick release. You can replace this post here with a post that has a suspension on it that will help you. So if I start riding off-road on trails, I may put that on there. And I don't know if I've left anything out, but that's kind of a good overview for this particular bike. And I can't remember, I'm doing a second take on this. I may have mentioned it already, so forgive me if I did, but there's four or five major competitors in this space, and some are more established here in the U.S. than Magicycle. They've been here for more years. But again, I felt like when I read the reviews in this price range, I felt like this was the best value. So what's my experience? So it is a tremendous amount of fun to ride, and you can get about as much exercise or as little as you want. So if you go in a lower level power assist, you can break a good sweat and huff and puff. And if you go with the throttle, you're not going to get any exercise, or almost none. And in between, you can use more pedal assist. I think this is great for young folks, old folks, everybody in between. I mean, it's just a lot of fun to ride. If you are a person that has joint issues, maybe arthritis, you can get back out and enjoy a bike with this. You can actually work the pedals on a very high pedal assist and not hurt yourself. The guy's channel on YouTube that I first saw this bike. He's up in his 70s and has some arthritis issues. Very active. He hikes a lot and camps and does all that, but he's got some joint issues, and so he couldn't ride a bike if it wasn't for an e-bike. And there's another guy, he's in his early 60s and had a knee replacement, and he's got a Magicycle. He bought another brand to start with, and he used it to rehab his knee. Again, not a lot of, he used the pedal assist level up pretty high, so he didn't have to work it. And now he's got 3,000 or 4,000 miles on his bike. So it's a blast to ride. I mean, just tremendous amount of fun. A couple of things that I learned, it's very different, obviously, from a regular bike. And when you get on it, I actually don't turn it on so I don't accidentally grab the throttle and have it jump out from underneath me. I turn it on after I get on it. When I start to go, I'll use the throttle. That's easier to start off. This bike is heavy, 76 pounds. So I'll use that throttle to go. And then once I get going, I will, I'll start using various levels of pedal assist. Typically on level surface, I'll go in 2 or 3 so I get some work. When I start up a hill, I'll increase it up to 3 or 4, maybe 5. And just for fun, every once in a while, I'll turn it on 6 or 7. But it makes the hills, I still work a little bit, but it makes them pretty easy to get up. And, you don't have to struggle and stop and get off and walk your bike. It does have a walk function. I didn't show you that, but you can punch a couple of buttons and the bike will power itself at about 3 or 4 miles an hour, so you can walk with it. So if you do want to get off and walk up a hill, that's an option as well. I had to learn the hard way about that pedal assist, though. If you're not careful, you're not going to be used to it. When you turn those pedals, that motor kicks in and that bike will take off. So on my very first day, I got pretty confident and I was really accustomed to it, so I thought. Went into a cul-de-sac and I forgot to turn the pedal assist down. I've learned now to turn that down to about 2 when I come to a stop sign or slow down or get into a cul-de-sac. But I had that up about 4 or 5 as I was coming in. And I didn't use the full turning radius in the cul-de-sac. I kind of was in the middle and I started doing a sharp turn and I hit the pedals. Well, I was in level 4 or 5 and the bike took off. And it was going so fast, I couldn't make the turn. I would have flipped, and the curb was coming up quick, which wouldn't have been a big deal. I would have just gone off into the yard, except there was a big sewer drain there, and it was real tall, and I barely missed that. And right after it, there was a driveway, and it was at an angle, and I was able to turn pretty sharply into that driveway and stop without wrecking. But I learned a lot. I had a lot more confidence than I had experience. And since then, I've really been practicing, and I've kind of got that ingrained now. But again, it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to getting it off on some easy trails. It's not made for real mountain bike, hilly, technical rides, although I have seen people use this bike, and it will do it, but it's not really made for that. But I'm going to take some easy trails and things like that. But I highly recommend it. It's a way to get some exercise, have a lot of fun, kind of have a little slow motorcycle ride if you want. But let me know if you got any questions. Y'all be blessed.